lots of players can still be qualifying because we got to cut half of the field away today in order to be able to get to our final games tomorrow.
So we knew coming into this one that we were looking at, lobbies which are mostly going to be, quite strongly divided in terms of skill here. Genre's Pet Dog, of course, came into this one the lowest ranked of the players who came in with a couple of 8ths from before. Was able to pick up a 7th, which was still an improvement, but at this point, Genre's Pet Dog probably out of contention for the top half of the field. There's only going to be 16 players going through to tomorrow, so you need to be averaging at least the top 4 to manage it.
You're right, but, with 3 games left, if all of a sudden you were to pull out this magical run of first places, 24 points could bolster that score quite considerably. So I feel like until this game's over, we probably won't count anyone completely out just yet, but you're 100% right. It's definitely going to be tricky. It's definitely looking like a little bit of an insurmountable task at this point. One thing I think is important to do before we talk about which compositions have been strong, which players have been performing well, is to actually really come back strong from this break, because a lot was made of this break. The fact that we had the opportunity, and as did the players, to go away, to get food, to get drink. What did you get, Counterfeit?
Oh my gosh, I got so many things. I got myself some, what were they? Tomato chutney topped mince pie. Mince pies? Pork pies. They're pretty good. It's basically like you get a pork pie, you just pour a bunch of sauce on the top and then call it a day. It's amazing. It's how the other half live, Greyheart. I want to live
I'll tell you
alone.
what, I asked the analyst questions that need to be asked. That's all I'm saying. I went out and thought I'll just casually have, 6 beef and chili skewers. That's a casual thing to have on a Saturday lunchtime here in the UK, right? Spilled a cup of coffee all over myself. Successfully drank a cup of coffee as well. You know what? It swings and roundabouts.
Absolutely. And I mean, there has been a pretty big swings for this player we're going to next. Temlozz came into this lobby undefeated, but then went 8th straight away with a Jade Xiaoyu comp, and we saw across the entire field of play, there's a lot of really good comps which are not finishing highly at all.
Yeah, it's true. We've seen the Xiaoyu win a couple of times. We've seen the Siphons winning a couple of times. But at the moment, with the amount of contesting that's coming in, both of Jade and of trainers, it's getting that little bit trickier for everybody to just go straight out and win with them. We're interested to see if that changes in this lobby. One thing that's safe for Temlozz is their first 2 wins were with 7 set players. And then that lobby changed and only one of those players came with them. All of a sudden, they dropped into an 8. So maybe this is just a lobby where their champions are being contested a little bit more. The players that they're going up against have a slightly better handle on to deal with them, or maybe it's just an unlucky game and they're going to bounce back and pick up a really good result here.
I think we're certainly seeing a strong start for Temlozz in terms of economics. So they haven't leveled, they got richer, they've got a ton of money in the bank, and while they're probably due for a fairly heavy ass kicking in the early going, that's not a bad thing as well, because it will also give them a reliable way to push that income either further. What it is, though, is a somewhat more risky strategy, because you are trading health for gold, and while gold is great, having enough HP to not go 8th is also a good thing.
And on that last round, Ash made like a bad tennis player and wasn't able to get the volley off at the end, so didn't kill off even the Silas. So quite a chunk of health taken off even on that first round for Temlozz. We'll see if they're able to stabilize with this Jade statue and a lack of tanks in the early game.
Let's go and check out Laser Octopus. I think surprise winner of the previous round. I think it was a surprise even to themselves. Doing very, very well and getting a pretty solid start here. Very early Silas and Lulu drop.
What do we make of the positioning of the Silas and the TK here?
I kind of like it. I mean, so Stronger Together, the augment I've got right now, which buffs up all of our, all of our aura items, is, this is one of the strongest starts you can get from the beginning. So I think Laser Octopus, they've got the good items, they've got the good units to start off with. That's a whole load of extra HP with the shield. I think we could see Laser Octopus having a really good early game.
Well, with Silas able to get that Kingslayer and get the extra heal, dealing all that damage with the Sunfire, it looked like it was going to be a straight-out win coming in, but now the tide has turned and it's drowned the Octopus. Jordan able to pick up the win and continue that streak.
Wow, I'm impressed. I suppose it is just a 1-star Lulu at the moment, so the shield isn't as big as it could be, but even so, this is a good setup here for Laser to lose out on. So, that means we need to keep going. Let's check out what Missbullyz is up to.
We'll have a little look here, but while we do, can I interest you on some fascinating pans we have for sale? 5 for $3 today only. You know where to get them, Twitch chat.
You completely lost me there, Snap. What are you on about?
If you read Twitch chat, you'll find out. But anyway,
Oh, right.
we're going to have another look at what's going to happen with Missbullyz as she goes up again. Alex M. We're going to see that Locket coming in pretty nicely, getting a good bit of shielding off. But again, the positioning means that the Cavalier Nunu able to charge straight down on towards that Jinx, getting the feast off that Chomp, but it's not on to the Jinx just yet. She gets the Chompers down, not able to kill off Nunu or Willem or Yone. That will be another win coming in for Missbullyz.
All right, we have seen Missbullyz, definitely a player with a strong command of the early game and making the best of it. Let's just check back on so the records so far, 3rd, 7th, and 2nd. I mean, that's averaging around about top 4. I think the 7th game is going to be a weight around their neck to keep them in the top half of the players, but if they do well for the rest of the competition, this game in particular, there's a very good chance Missbullyz will make it through to the next day of play.
I think it's exceptionally likely. One of the things we touched on as we came back into broadcast there, Counterfeit, is the fact that we've actually got quite a clumping of players because almost everybody has got one poor result to their name. There are very few people running away with it. There are people who have secured those 1st and 2nds and then have a 6th or 7th or an 8, like you say, tying them back down. And if enough people are tied down, it just brings that whole pool of players closer. This is why I still think there's that chance of people like Genre, who we see right now on this win streak, on a relatively poor score, if we're brutally honest, still having a chance to make it through.
I'm certainly not holding my breath, but I do appreciate that Genre's pet dog is running a dog little legend. I always appreciate people with good branding up against Missbullyz. We'll see how they do here, because Genre's pet dogs, they've got themselves a win streak, as is Missbullyz. This is a top of the table clash.
That's going to be one of these two losing out just as they come up towards the first neutral round. And at the minute, it looks pretty good for the Rage Blades, stacking on the Ash. Volley successful this time. We'll call them up to Wimbledon. Meanwhile, however, the Cavaliers are trying to rip through. And by Cavaliers, I mean Nunu. They managed to get a feast. They managed to take down one unit, but they will be slayed. As soon as that Steadfast Presence expires, it's going to be the end of the road for this win streak of Missbullyz.
It's hard to deal with Thrill of the Hunt. As soon as that starts proccing for Genre's pet dog, they, especially at the 2nd level of the effect where you're getting in 700 HP per kill. I mean, the second one unit drops, then the fight is pretty much over. Genre is very well set up to run their streak all the way into Krugs here and establish their dominance as they look to climb from the ashes of their first 3-game performances.
Things looking good in the early game, but we saw in games 2 and 3 today just how quickly fortunes can change and how top of the table can suddenly go out in 7th or 8th. So Genre's got a long way to go still, but with people like Joshy Chan on that really abysmal amount of health points right now, they'll certainly be feeling a little bit more confident of maybe at the very least securing their first top 4 of the day.
The Genres, but it's looking like it's going to be pretty much a no contest up the top. So let's check down the bottom instead, where Joshy Chan is riding their loss streak. And unfortunately for them, we talked about the idea of trying to minimize your losses while still losing. Joshy Chan has fallen a little bit more towards the losing side than the controlled descent.
Yeah, there's absolute free fall at the minute for Joshy Chan. Losing 36 hit points before you get to Krugs is close enough to a worst case scenario for a TFT player. Really going to have to bounce back in a big way and hope that the odds are in their favor as they come towards Krugs.
So what we might be seeing here, we talked about this off stream, but we didn't get a chance to bring it up on stream because no one was doing it, is we might actually be building towards a set reroll comp given how many Sennas and sets are being accumulated for Joshy.
Yeah, it's kind of fun to see, but we've only had one win for a Rage Wing comp so far today, and that was off Azaya and Set 3-star, both fully itemized. It's not a composition that's really in the absolute best of places right now. However, if it goes uncontested, the opportunity to get all these units like you're talking about right now does become a little bit higher. Not getting good item drops here, however, not helping so far. Unsure just how... I suppose you can get a quick silver out of that crit, so... Definitely a little bit of an upturn at the end, but still probably not everything that they were hoping for.
No, I mean, the big thing for Joshy here is they will at least get the chance to go into the carousel first of all. As we see whether or not Joshy is going to go for some kind of big roll down, then they will. Yeah. I think they're aware of how much pressure is on them to actually hit at this point. 3-star Senna will delete pretty much anything it runs into. But we're still, we're still quite a long way away from hitting set 3. I wonder if Joshy might actually give up on this roll down just because they haven't hit enough sets to realistically hit 3-star set right now.
I think the fact that we're seeing so many of seeing those comments picked up, getting the Dragonmancers involved means that they still want the set. I think it's still a high priority, and the fact that we're now seeing the items being built onto the set for me says that this is something that they are absolutely committing to. Could be proved wrong, but at the very least, it's going to help them stabilize through this mid game and hopefully end this loss streak. They're having a bit of a rough time right now. Senna, you said it could delete anyone it came up against. It's deleted a couple, but I don't think it's going to be able to get the job done. That Ryze is free firing on the back line, and one more shot out of it should be enough to take down that almighty 3-star Senna, and that is going to be the end of the road yet again for Joshy Chan.
Well, I mean, so this is what we were talking about, though. This Senna 3-star is allowing Joshy Chan to slow the descent trajectory a little bit, as unfortunately these aren't the augments they're looking for. Really, Joshy would have loved to have found Scorch here in particular. Though this will be, this will be something we'll say again and again if the set comp does continue getting played. Scorch will allow you to do a lot more. Unfortunately, even with the reroll, which does take account of what's on the board, it still doesn't happen. So it's going to be Celestial Blessing, a little bit more healing, and maybe with the Siphon being picked up, Joshy's considering making some kind of pivot.
We'll keep our eyes peeled for if we have a pivot or if we do get towards this 3-star, as the Dragonmancer does come in for the set. However, up on the top of the table, it is Barry, usually the one who we see opting into this Rage Wing, which they've done so many times today. They've changed it up. They've looked towards a J-Star. They've already got to show you with those Thieves' Gloves attached. Barry's rocking a win streak.
All right, Barry. We told you at the end of the previous game after a 6th, 5th, and 6th that wasn't going to be good enough to get you through to day 2. It does seem like Barrett's been jumping backwards and forwards between Jade and Xayah as a kind of 2 tricks so far in the competition. We'll see how they do here against Missbullyz. The level advantage is there for Barry. The win streak is pretty substantial, and I think it will stay intact because Missbullyz isn't quite at that level, but as we see, they are still pretty strong.
Yeah, decent situation. They're not going to be upset about the hit points they've got, but Barry's certainly going to be happier how this early game is going. The same true for Luxor. The same not true, however, for Temlozz, who, after having that loss in the last round, is dropping back down to the southern end of the table again. I'm going to be too pleased with that one.
Just want to take a second to check our Luxor, since we haven't looked at them too much. Actually going for Mage, which is not something we see a ton of, but we've got a strong Silas front line and the potential for a relatively early Nami 3. The only problem for Luxor is that cash is not their friend right now.
Oh, it's not. And securing that 7th Nami is dropping down below the point of getting any interest at all coming out of this round, despite having just hit their Astral reroll. So, yeah, it's not optimal, but at the same time, if they get towards that Nami 3, if they're able to push this Mage through, maybe translate that Rise into an Ao Shin, maybe even a Mage Emblem later on, they could still be in a pretty hot spot.
Absolutely, and we have seen a couple of Aurelian Souls and Ao Shins, sneaking through in some of our unstreamed lobbies as well. So it's definitely on our players' mind, that kind of line of play is open to them. I think we'll see a lot more of that tomorrow, where people have to hit the top 3 overall to get to the Superbrawl itself. That's when we start to see the real end game Omega power level comps be essential if you want to be one of our 3 winners.
No sooner did we leave Barry alone than Archer came and knocked them down to 5. Barry's win streak's over. Alex M's continues. Joshy continues their plummet towards 0 HP. They need to manage to get their pickaxe into a cliff sometime soon and hang on for dear life.
Oh boy, yeah, Joshy Chan down at the bottom. I was going to check in on them again because it looks like we got something a little bit interesting going on. So that's an Idus going by their traits at the side, presumably. Oh, interesting. I'm trying to figure out what's going on here for Pet Dog, but we won't worry about them for now.
Okay.
We'll check out Joshy Chan, who, oh my gosh, they have got the Eliminator build for Senna. Again, they're not going to be... Okay, well, never mind. They're just going to change up everything. I think they're still trying for set 3, and they finally found it, but... Oh my gosh, they have taken a kick in trying to get to this point.
I'm just trying to remember, is it going to be a Rage Blade finally built onto the set to kind of stack that out?
Well, it would have been earlier on. I wonder if we might see something else now, just because we're starting to move into the area where we're going to be getting 6 Rage Wing online, which gives you an absolute ton of attack speed anyway, so it becomes a lot less essential than when you're sitting at 3. I mean, the Giant Slayer, it's a pretty good investment for later on, but as we're seeing right now, even at 3-star set, is still struggling.
I'm not going to lie, I'm super unconvinced by this at the minute, but we'll see if Barry can continue to pick up wins, even though Yep, sorry, no, not Barry. If Joshy can start to pick up wins, Barry back on the winning road again, though.
Well, as I said, this is the comp that needs to get to level 6 pretty much immediately. The only awkwardness with the Rage Wings is that the 6th Rage Wing would generally tend to be our good horsey friend Hecarim, and that can be a little tough to find when you're at these lower levels.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you could get the Zaya equally, and if that comes in, but it's got equal amount of difficulty in terms of finding it, but at least there are 2 units out there that can fill that hole. At the moment, though, probably waiting until maybe after Wolves to even think about getting to level 6, which means your chance of finding those units, never mind just putting them out, is next to non-existent.
Well, Genre's pet dog has actually gone for a Dragon Monster Ao Shin. That's an incredibly early find there, though they don't actually seem to have apply the Dragon Monster onto the Ao Shin as yet, maybe not confident in their ability to get the cast off. I think this might be the chance for Joshy Chan to start winning.
If you could help me out with my my memory of Augment Emblems, is that the level up that we're seeing, which is why we've got this early level 7?
Oh no, for Genre's pet dog, no, that's Thrill the Hunt and the component grab bag. I think they've just managed to hit the 1%.
Of course, level up is prismatic, so of course it wouldn't be.
Yeah.
Sorry, having a complete moment there. Yeah, well, in which case they've hit early level 7, they've hit a great unit, and they're going to be all right. But the fact they're losing Joshy doesn't speak so well for it.
No, in fact, let's have a quick check through and see what they've got going on. So there we go. The Dragon Monster has now come down on the Ao Shin. I think the big thing for them here is ideally to have a sword drop and then start getting the Spirit Shojin so they can get the cast out a little bit faster. Because if we talk about an eggs in one basket comp, I mean, this couldn't get much more straightforward than this.
I suppose that is true. There's the option to go for a blue buff rather than opting in to the Spirit Shojin, but it doesn't look like that's something that they are particularly interested in right now. Maybe continuing to itemize the Karma might be a go-to. Getting that Shoyu drop there, probably nothing especially helpful other than generating an extra 8 gold.
Oh boy. Well, I mean, we got Tempest 4 in. It's a little bit awkward that the extra tier went out onto the Ao Shin, because ideally, you could maybe throw in a Quincy's Rageblade otherwise to get off the cast a little bit faster, but instead, I guess we'll be sitting around waiting for that to happen. The loss streak is still in place for Genres, so as long as their losses aren't too harsh, they're probably okay.
Barry going in pretty hard here, getting good damage down. Nico managing to find the ult. It is going to be good kills being picked up by Barry Badden's crew. Meanwhile, just a quick request coming out of Twitch chat, and that is that we update to say that it's game 4 rather than game number 3.
My apologies. Yes, sorry, that's one of the things I'm having to modify manually, so...
The dragon-slaying dragon is going for it. Xiaoyu trying to get that last bit of damage before the strikes come out of Ao Shin. The second ultimate was about to hit, but it's too little. It's too late for the pet dog. Barry Badden picks up the dub.
Arf, arf, arf. It's time. Could it be time?
You want the golden egg, don't you?
Give me that egg.
I knew it.
Oh,
Good
my
hearing
gosh.
your voice.
I don't think this is going to get picked up here because, I mean, well, the golden egg is definitely exemplifies the win more augment. That if you're already in a great spot, you can say, screw it, I'm going to basically sack off half of my HP to win the game. But when, that half of your HP it's kind of a set number. So we're talking about maybe 40 HP or something. If you can afford to give that up, you can take a golden egg. If you can't, then you probably shouldn't.
And, no! They're gonna just straight out go for it. Pet dog says it's all or nothing, baby.
If my completely made up calculations are correct, they're gonna have to win the game on 9 HP. Let's see how they do. This is not a loss.
Calculations. I truly
This
do.
is not a loss streaking augment, just to be clear. If you're winning, it's great because you're cutting down the time in half. If you're loss streaking, this is gonna take forever to come online.
Oh, well, it's a dangerous game being played by Genre. Let's see if it works out. They're going to get some good kills coming out of Ao Shin's one ultimate, and now the Sejuani surely will not be able to rip through the Dragon's remaining health bar before that second ultimate comes online with 6 stacks of Seraphs. Here it comes. There she goes. Bristle is no more.
All right. We've been spending quite a lot of time with Genre's pet dog, so let's keep popping around and check in with Alex M up on the top with everyone's favourite Cannoneer comp. Or I suppose we said recently we've seen the change across the center, but we've got a good setup here for Corki and a solid setup overall. Yes, so I'm interested about that one as well because we've got some very good defensive items on the Tam Kench, but that Tam Kench is nowhere near hitting 3-star. I'm going to look at this and say, I thought for one full second it was going to be a 3-star already, and it's look really silly. But no, it isn't 3-star, so it's not going to stick around long term, as you say.
I doubt it very much. This is the one I wanted to see it up against Joshy Chan and Joshy Chan, seeing if they're able to continue picking up a few wins, keeping that health bar intact with their 3-stars. Set starting to hit pretty hard. Went for the resolve as the third item, which I like a lot. Senna now with the Thieves' Gloves, also able to help out, able to hit a little bit harder, and with the nice little bit of damage coming out of your Swain as well. This is going to be a real easy win for Joshy Chan, who has completely turned their fortunes round, picking up the win streak, giving themselves hope in this game.
Yeah, so this is what we were waiting for. The 6th Rage Ring does come in, and that really just makes the Coincidence Rage Blade missing a lot less essential. And it also means that Joshy Chan, with them being last on the pick, they've got a very good chance of building up some solid items to take them through the later game.
So we're coming up to our stage 4 carousel. We've got a couple of big units available. Soraka out there should somebody want to help themselves to it. No one opting into it just yet as Speedy Boy rushes out and grabs a chain vest.
All right, so let's take a look at our field overall. Barry and the Laser Octopus and LXM and Luxor, they're all pretty much on the same HP. Missbullyz only barely below, but it's our bottom 3, Temlozz, Genre's Pet Dog, and Joshy Chan. They're the ones feeling the most pressure.
Tem and everybody's favorite egg-wielding genre are going to be the ones who are probably the most scared right now. Knowing that Josh is on that win streak, has started to make that Rage Wing build work. They know that they are probably the ones the closest to the exit, despite what the health bars say. Let's see if they can keep themselves alive, much like Joshy has been doing for the last few minutes. How far are we off that egg? Another 4 rounds?
Yes, if Mass says correctly, so that means that Genre must have won a round somewhere in there. I'm trying to remember which round the health bar shows. I think it actually might be the amount of rounds remaining rather than the amount of rounds completed, which is still a very long way away for Genre.
Judging by the fire and how much it's moving, I think you're right.
So what I do like about the Alshin setup for Alex M here is... for Genre... sorry, switching places on the board. Is the thrill of the hunt. The thrill of the hunt for Aoshin means that if Aoshin gets 1 kill off, they'll basically, they'll add 1 or 2 kills off towards the end of the round. They'll basically heal themselves up to full, and with the damage they're taking from the rest of the units, they'll just cast again.
Well, I just had a mild gasp there, which you may or may not have heard, Peter, because I thought that crescendo was hitting just in time to cancel any potential extra Aoshin ult, but the mana ticked over in between the 2 crescendos, which meant as the second crescendo connected, the uninterruptible ultimate went through. That was enough to secure a crucial win for Genre.
We will take a break from Genre for a second, though, because Joshy Chan did just lose their previous round, all up against Missbullyz, who's bringing out the Mirage Cavaliers. Joshy very close to elimination. It has taken them way too long to get to this board. And we know that the ultimate end goal of the set composition here is to have a Shyvana to cap out at Rage Wing 9. I don't think that's on the cards.
And unfortunately, the damage just isn't there between the set and the Senna to really hurt this Deja, who's ripping through, who's got the Rage Blade stacks, and this could very well be the end, my friend. But one big hit from the Senna turns things around. Deja's got the damage. 1 HP remains for Joshy Chan.
Oh my gosh, Joshy was so determined to hit this competition. It's one of my favorite comps as well, so I do understand it, but oh boy. I mean, this Treasure Dragon is going to be incredibly crucial. They need to set up for a secondary carry because they can't wait for Shyvana to come join the comp. They need to be setting up with either a Swain or a Xayah to help that set get over the line.
Well, they've gone for defensive items instead, which is probably just going to up the potential survivability of this Shen. Steadfast Presence, such useful ability, especially early on in the game. Right now, I'm not sure it gives them enough to actually stay alive, though.
All right, we'll keep our eyes out on the egg. We do have a tradition here in the Rising Legends circuits of doing the egg chant, so if that hatches, we will absolutely be engaging that. And I demand you join me. Oh, Shyvana. Oh my gosh. The problem is, we're not quite at the right point for it because we won't be able to hit Rage Ring 9 without hitting level 8.
Yeah, this is a bit unfortunate. And also, you've had to take out the Kane, who's currently one of your item holders. Fortunately, Magnetic Remover comes in clutch. We're able to just throw some Thieves' Gloves straight onto Shyvana. This gives a prayer to Joshy Chan. Unfortunately, it might be a prayer that goes unheeded.
Oh boy. So if Joshy Chan's going to get out of this particular fix, they're going to need to have one hell of a win streak from here until tomorrow, where they can hit up to level 8 and get themselves fully online up against the other player who is running the Zyre that they'd be looking for. Keep your eye out for that set. While they stand, Joshy has a chance. The second they drop, it's all over. But Set gets onto the back line, Shyvana taking to the air, and I think Joshy gets to live to see another round.
Ooh, this is going to be a close one. Flame Breath coming in big for the Shyvana. Set staying alive a lot longer than the Senna did. It was 2 big Zephyrs early on from Barry Badden, but at the end, it was he who was blown out into the sky like Team Rocket blasting off again.
One person who's blasting through the table is Laser Octopus. They're up at the top now, undefeated. We'll just spend a moment checking on what they're up to. And of course, it's going to be the Better Together competition turning into yet more corkies.
It's not entirely surprising to see that happening. However, doing it in a really good way. Still feel like the TK is slightly unusual going into this comp, but they're making it work. I'm sure they've had the options to siphon, so they know better than I.
Oh no, for sure. I think the siphon is going to be coming sooner or later. It just hasn't made it through quite yet.
Okay.
Genre's Pet Dog. One of these two is dying in this round. We'll see who gets to go. Will it be the big dragon? Will it be the little dragon? Or will it be the cardboard box?
It's a battle to the death. Take it away, Peter.
Oh my gosh, Shyvana tearing in, and the lightning is not good enough. This set's online, and the dog is in the doghouse.
And the egg is scrambled. We never get to have it revealed what would have come out of there. If it could have helped genre, they're going to pick up 1 solitary point here. Joshy makes sure they're taking at least 2 back to, I want to say the UK with them. I'm pretty sure they're from the UK.
Yes, they are. Oh my gosh. So Joshy, you can see, they still haven't got enough money to hit level 8, which is what they're really holding out for. In terms of power spike here, it's going to be absolutely ludicrous. I mean, Shyvana doesn't necessarily need to have this whole setup to function, but the attack speed is going to be ridiculous. The lifesteal as well will keep him alive long enough for the Tysons to go off. Every round, though, is a heartbreaker. We've got 2 Zeeks on that set. Let's fight
3.
one more time against the top of the table.
It's going to be 3 courtesy of a double Zeke's Thieves Gloves on the Senna. This is going to mean that is going to be a hard-hitting boss who's coming in, trying to do the damage. The knockup from the Shyvana is good. Set is about to be slain where they stand. It's going to be all about the Flame Breath coming out of the dragon, and I'm not sure that it's enough. That's going to be a dead Shyvana. That's going to be a dead Swain. That's going to be a dead Joshy Chan. 2 points for them.
Oh my gosh, and we see, I really enjoy Joshy Chan as a player, but I think they just didn't have an extra trajectory for their comp. They committed in fully to hit the set reroll, and while they did manage to do it, the window where that set will be able to carry you had already passed at that point. It's very disappointing end for them. I think as well, though, it's a testament to how strong the rest of the lobby is, including Temlozz, who's on a 6 Mirage, 5 Cavalier setup in 6th place.
Big moment there as that mage emblem picked up by Luxor, which is going to come in absolutely huge for them when we check their board in the moment. I completely agree with something you said earlier on Counterfeit. You said, I just don't feel like he's got enough sets right now. And I feel like that was true in so many ways. It delayed the pickup of that set 3 that could have helped carry through the early, and it rinsed through the economy in their desperate attempt to find it. For me, that was where the game was lost for Joshy Chan. But now, moving away from the dead and onto the living, we're seeing Luxor, we're seeing what is being gained courtesy of that mage emblem, and it is the transition into Ao Shin, which I spoke of earlier on. The items were already there onto the rise. They've been able to swap this out onto a now double hitting Ao Shin.
All right, we'll see if it's good enough. Certainly the Mage Aurelian Soul does a lot of work up against the pretty solid setup here. So we've actually got Corki and Sona coming together as a double carry setup for Alex M. It's going to be pretty tough to deny. The ult is everything for Luxor.
This is going to be big. It's going to fire twice. It's going to do so very much damage, but it's not going to do enough. It's a 2v1, and right now, Siphon just needs to hit ult, but they're getting it too slowly. They're being ripped through. They can't charge, and it is going to be Luxor showing why that Ao Shin is so powerful.
Oh my gosh. Shades of Kaiser from the previous set. Not only able to access every target on the board, but when it comes down to the one-on-one, the damage is insane.
It's absolutely crazy. It's one of my favorite things to do. We're at Mage 5 as well, so all that bonus AP coming in. Nice to see it. One little thing which I personally would have done differently, but again, maybe... well, entirely definitely, actually, we're seeing Luxor knowing better than I, is the option of the 3 items that they could rip off the Rise and put onto this Ao Shin were going to be the Archangels, the Hextech Gunblade, and the Spear of Shojin. No doubt Spear of Shojin's got to be on there, but I personally would have gone for the Hextech Gunblade for that extra bit of healing, ripping through the double cast. They opted into the Seraphs, and actually it worked out really, really well.
It will not work out well for Barry Badden, though, as they fall victim to Temlozz and the Cavalier Mirage. This is such a ridiculously strong setup. As we can see there, we've got a Yasuo with a Cavalier Spat as well. Almost unbeatable.
Yeah, Yasuo, Cavalier Spatula, one of the strongest things. As soon as you can get up to that 5 Cavalier, that is utterly insane, especially alongside 6 Mirage. Which Mirage are we at on this one again?
Let's go and take a quick look. It reminded ourselves, it is Warlord's Honor, so that's health and ability power.
Yeah, so already they've been charging up really nicely on that Deja. Things working out very nicely for anyone who opted into Mirage this time around. Temlozz reaping the benefits of that one. They'll be probably pushing for a top 2 place despite the fact they currently have the lowest HP.
Oh, for sure. Just a touch back on some of our players who've been eliminated. So Joshy Chan, tried to go for the Rage Wings. Because they were in a lobby with Barry Badden, who switched from J to Rage Wing, that helped slow down Joshy Chan. And it's always a sticking point, I think, when you see someone contest you, and therefore, you lose because of it, you'd hope that at least they would go on to do really well, because at least they stole all the units that you were looking for. But for them to lose as well...
It's pure self-destruction, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was holding hands 6th and 7th rather than 7th and 8th.
Yeah. I wonder why Barry did that, because it felt like they were getting on okay with the Jade earlier on, but pivoting into their more favoured composition, maybe that's what they thought would be best for them. I can assure you it probably wasn't, but we turn our attention away from them on Temlozz, who has got this Cavalier Mirage setup going through that I expect to do great things. It's got to do great things against this double casting Ao Shin. However, Deja so far unable to start targeting its rival Dragon, but he himself has gone unhit, and this means he will be able to fire shots. That's going to pick up a win for Temlozz. Luxor may have met their match.
Oh boy, yeah, I mean, the front line here is so good, and of course Yasuo, Cavalier as well. Not having very much attack speed on the Deja means they are relying, Temlozz is relying really, really heavily on a couple of good Deja casts, but it's working pretty damn well. Missbullyz is now down at the bottom along with Luxor. Our top 5 is still very much in question, and Missbullyz, they've got themselves a pretty damn good board.
I'd like to see that fight in a minute, but could we just take a very brief look at Laser Octopus, who's looking for a 2nd win in a row? Yep. Okay, that's enough. I've seen enough of that one. Back to Missbullyz.
I've seen enough. Take me away.
I know why that's winning, because we see it all the damn time, and it is exceptionally strong. But right now, Missbullyz Luxor fighting for their lives in this particular game, fighting for points that can see them further into the tournament. Good damage coming out of the Deja yet again from Missbullyz, who's trying to put it damage onto Luxor, who doesn't manage to get the shots off.
Whoa.
Luxor gets taken into 5th base. Missbullyz lives to tell the tale.
That Mage Ao Shin not ultimately paying off, I think. That's going to be pretty bitter for Luxor as if you start to get our other players coming in. But you're right. Laser Octopus is positioned to take the lobby up at level 9 with everything they can ask for and still have the Tam Kench on the front line. I am very surprised that never became a Siphon. But hey, they know better than I do, and it's working pretty damn well.
For flip's sake, Barry Badden, put your Twitter or something drop me a DM with your Twitter on Twitch, and you've got yourself a follower. They're asking why I did it. I did it for the culture.
I did it for the culture. To be fair, Barry's got a brand, and that brand is apparently everything.
I love it. The Barry Badden brand. Right now, we've got ourselves Alex M, who we haven't seen a huge amount of in this game, going up against current leader Laser Octopus. Let's see if this Siphon can rip through Corky and co. It is going to be Nomsy just absolutely rinsing through. Platinum Nomsy doesn't heal, sorry, but has so much health and stays alive so long. But when up against a friendly Platinum Nomsy who's not so friendly, it turns out you can't actually survive that long. Daisy will be summoned, buying a little bit of time for Zoe to get more damage down. But as these two Corky playing compatriots face off against each other, it's Alex M who stands tall and Laser Octopus who loses their win streak.
It looks like we're headed for another one of our showdowns at the OK Corral. We've got 3 players who are very low coming into the back half of stage number 6. Missbullyz, Alex M, both one shot away from dead. Temlozz quite likely could be there as well. We are seeing a very Mirage-heavy lobby. In fact, Temlozz and Missbullyz have got almost identical comps, just with a 1 or 2 units difference.
Well, the same can be said for Alex M and for Laser Octopus. We've basically got 2 compositions at this point.
Yeah, I mean, that's where all the siphons are, I suppose. For Laser Octopus, it looks like they might be yes,
there it is.
We finally hit the siphon, but not the siphon 2. Oh, never mind.
Siphon 2 comes through, not itemized, however, and that could be a real big difference maker when we see going towards fights against, especially Alex M later on, who had their number in the last fight. They're not going to be fighting them now, however. They'll be up against Temlozz or Missbullyz. It's going to be the battle against Temlozz to show which of these 2 comps wins. Basically, we've got Mirage against Corky, Corky against Mirage in our 2 battles right now. Let's see who comes out on top.
We'll switch across to the other fight as this one becomes clear either way around it. It is looking like it's going to be very tight towards the end. Deja stacking up right to the end of the line, but I think this is going to be Laser Octopus. Temlozz, as Alex M actually gets taken out by Missbullyz.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
What's happening on the other one?
Oh yeah, we should probably go back.
Laser Octopus did manage to just about get it. So Corky 1 on 1 and Deja 1 on the other, but that leaves us with 3. Leaves us with double Deja and only singular Corky.
Oh my gosh. So for Missbullyz, looking back at their record across the whole of today so far, a 7th, a 3rd, and a 2nd. That's not in order. So if they finish in the top 3 here, they've got, they're very well positioned coming into our final lobbies. For Alex M, they have had that one first they managed to get with a Varus reroll, but everything else has been around the top 4 and their first game at a 7th. For Laser Octopus, they've kind of crept up here. If Laser can pick up a first in this game, which it seems likely, they are maybe looking to be one of our top players coming out today.
They've certainly got the biggest health bar at the minute, but they have taken losses up against this Deja comp before. Let's see how they do on this one as Laser Octopus manages to find pretty nice tornadoes bouncing out of the Zoe. Deja trying to get damage in, but it's just not quite enough. Not ripping through the Corky early enough. That's enough to send Missbullyz to their grave. Temlozz does find a win against a Ghost on the other screen.
All right, I think a 3rd place is perfectly fine there. Laser Octopus, though, as we said, looking to set themselves up very well for the last 2 games. We know there is a lot of variance in any given tournament, as Laser actually finds one of the things you were calling for before, which is an item to beef up this Siphon on the front line.
And Warmogs will do exactly that, of course, counterfeit. And as we look towards what could be a final showdown if Temlozz takes the loss, this has been an interesting game yet again, but it has given us a really clear indication of some of the players who are going to be progressing on to tomorrow's finals. We've got to lose half of the field, and right now it's becoming more and more abundantly clear. You can check in on the scores. I believe there's a link in the Twitch chat to have a little look at that and see just who is ending where. As we come towards our last couple of games of the day, our last lobbies, things are becoming more and more clear, even though the action is still as exciting as ever.
Oh my gosh, Temlozz is thinking about going for Shyvana 2 to swap out. I can't see a world in which they try for that here. It just seems too wild to even contemplate, but they've got another one more chance against Laser Octopus. It's going to be a pretty big uphill struggle for Temlozz to get in and take the first, but they're going to give it their all.
Slow casting coming out of the Danger does mean that Temlozz not getting the better of this fight at the moment, but Deja still going untouched. The tankier units, those Cavaliers doing what they can to buy time for Deja to destroy from the back. Unfortunately, that front line is now gone. Corki will start to turn their attention towards the Danger. They have just been ripped through by one attack, a second coming. It will take down the Corki. Now it's Nomsy versus Danger. Deja, and Deja wins.
I think Danger's a pretty good name for them. That's alright, Temlozz. What are you up to here? I mean, to be fair, the Warlord setup, for the Mirages isn't massively central, but this is a bold thing to even tease us with. Because you just won the previous round, and they're actually going to go for it.
This is happening. The itemization actually makes more sense on the Shyvana. The Nico is already there, so you're getting extra shapeshifters out. So I don't know what I think about this. I'm not sure I would have done this on the back of a win that kept me alive, but boy, it's made things exciting.
All right, we'll see how Shyvana does. I think this is going to go hugely one way or the other. It's all about Shyvana. We know that she is going to attack the biggest quantity of units, but
oh, it's beautiful.
It's working pretty well one on many, but I wonder about the late rounds.
No, I think the Shyvana has got this. Flame Breath starting to rip through Nomsy. This was a power play from Temlozz, and it was a power play that has got them the victory.
All right, well, they know better than I do. Very nicely done indeed. I don't think there's many players who would have gone for a play that bold, but they sure as hell made it work, which means we are officially now into the back half of the